Hi, this is Daniel with End Time Country Living, and on this program it's time to get our onions and our squash harvested and out to keep from getting frosted. That's coming up. So it's getting that time of year. It's October 11, and we got our first fall frost last night. It was just a mild frost, barely hit anything in the garden, but the squash, at least the butternut squash, were definitely hit, and I could see it over in the field a little bit, and it was about 32 degrees. So tonight it's clear out, and it's supposed to get down to about 31. So I need to get the onions and the squash out of there so that it isn't super critical. They should be able to handle that because it's not terrible, but if it drops down a couple more degrees, they could be starting to get some damage on them. So I want to get those out and into the house and protected. So I'm going to go grab the wheelbarrow and meet you guys in the garden. So out here in my onion patch here, so I got some nice onions this year. I'm really happy with them, and I tried some different methods of fertilizing them and some not, and they all pretty much turned out the same. So I think the best advice to get good onions is to have a lot of good compost and keep adding it every year. It seems to be the consistent factor that produces good sized onions. So you can see here a lot of these got hit by the frost, the tops here. They're all getting brown and dried up here, and a lot of them are knocked over here, but I think the bulbs are still in good shape here. So I'm going to just pull them out here, put them all in the wheelbarrow, and get them rinsed off so all the roots aren't all dirty, and then we'll take them in the house and start curing them here. You can see here the roots, how long they're going to be here, and the roots can actually be trimmed. They don't need to be that long, so you may want to consider doing that. Take a knife or something like that and slice it off, or a pair of scissors, or whatever you think might work well. It's full of dirt, so I'm not going to use my pruners on them because I don't want to dull my pruners up and have to then resharpen them. But an old pair of pruners or something like that would work too. Want to leave the tops on until they get nice and dry. It seems to be the wise advice here, and I don't know all the science behind it, but helps in the curing process. I think that's kind of the normal way that they would dry out, is to have the stem attached, and then once they're fully cured, that can be trimmed off. Nice big ones here. So be careful not to pull on the stem when you try to get it out of there. Hang on to the bulb itself, because it'll break the stem on some of them if you're not careful. This one's already juicy and decaying, so I won't bother taking that in. This one will probably get used up pretty soon. It's kind of exposed here, but we'll try and see how well it works. But it'll probably be one of the first to need to get used up. These are sweet Spanish, all the same this year. I was intending to plant a second variety, but somehow that didn't happen, and ended up with all the same variety. It also didn't end up with as many as I wanted to. There's only about 200 here. I wanted to do the whole bed, but miscalculated something. So it's a learning process. Here, get a little better. So we were able to get our butternut squash in, and our onions and some peppers. I got those all picked. The tomatoes we're pretty much done with and just kind of tired of them and don't need any more, so we're just going to let them go. If they, you know, in the next week they decide to ripen up, great, we'll pick a few, but we're not going to stress over it here. So anyway, brought all the onions inside, hung them up to dry. We could also, now that it's sunny and it actually didn't get down to freezing, it was about 33 this morning, so we could have put them out in the sun to dry, but I already got them hung up and on the racks in the house, so by the wood stove, so that's sufficient. Either one, either set them out in the sun or get them by the wood stove or someplace where they can, you know, dry out. Works to get them so they're not going to mold and they can, you know, start the curing process. And then just was practicing with stringing them up since my rack was full. Last year I was able to get them all in the rack, but this year we got, well, they're twice as big this year or more, so we actually even though we have about the same quantity, they're, you know, probably twice the the weight and volume, so had to improvise and learn how to string them up, so that worked pretty well. I was able to figure that out fairly easily. And my wife and I worked diligently till, I don't know, around 10 o'clock last night, bringing in all the squash, just to get them out of the field. It's Friday, so didn't want to be, or well, it was Thursday night, but going to be Friday again, so we got a lot of work to do today to clean up and get stuff ready for the Sabbath. So we need to, about to get all the squash out of the field here. They look like some of them already had a little bit of frost damage on them. So happy to just get them out of there, because you never know, even though the forecast says, 42, 45, somewhere around there is a low, it could, with these clear skies, it could easily drop, below freezing again. So I just want to get them out of there to kind of protect them. And there's no reason, they're all pretty much, the little ladybug here, all pretty much ripe enough to store. There was only about 2 that were still a little bit green, that I felt that they were going to be not ripe enough to store. If they are a little bit green, they will rot pretty quickly. You'll wait for about a week and you'll check them, like, they're all gushy and soft and they're leaking all over. So I learned that lesson a few times. So anyway, make sure they're nice and orange, or whatever color, the salmon color. No, they're not salmon colored either. I don't know what color they are. They're butternut squash colored. There you go. So, all right. See you guys on the next video. God bless, and happy preparing for the winter. Bye-bye.